What's going on, everybody? Happy Martin Luther King Day. I've been enjoying my morning here at home. And as you guys know, with most major holidays, that means less volume inside of the markets. But I still wanted to go ahead and bring a Monday market overview for you guys because even though we're going to have a slower start to the week, Monday and Tuesday, as we go ahead and look at the economic calendar and run through some of our technical analysis, we do have some major things going on later this week, Wednesday through Friday, especially when it comes to the U.S. Introducing our new president elect on Wednesday and a lot of things going on outside of the holiday today. So I appreciate you guys for clicking on this video. Hope you're excited. I always get great reviews from the Sunday, Monday market overviews. It seems like everybody really enjoyed the Fibonacci retracement confirmation checklist video that I dropped this weekend. So if you haven't checked that out, I would definitely go do that. It walks through all the confirmations that we've gone through already on this channel before, and it's going to help you, play along with what I'm about to show here on this channel. So always as a friendly reminder, what I'm about to share here today is simply for education and entertainment purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor. I simply just share what I've been able to learn in the markets and in hopes that it helps you, give you some other form of confirmation to go ahead and pursue what you are doing when it comes to a day trading basis. But let's go ahead and dive right into it. Before we get into technicals, as you guys know, we like to dive into Forex Factory, look at a couple fundamentals. As again, today, I said, is Martin Luther King Day, so most US banks will be closed. Slower market movement, even though it's beautiful on an institutional order flow level, we're still going to see the same things happen. They're just going to be of less volume. So understand that when we're talking about major US holidays. This morning, a little bit for GBP, nothing going on Tuesday. And then, like I said, as we move into Wednesday, not only are we going to see things on this economic calendar, but I actually see it right here, right? Tentative president elect Biden is going to be he's going to be officially taking office. So as we roll into Wednesday, we see some CAD numbers, some bank statements. We also have press conferences all day for the Canadian dollar. We have the governor of Britain speaking. We have Biden speaking. We have unemployment changes for the Australian dollar. We have monetary policy outlooks for the Japanese yen. So there's a lot going on Wednesday. Going to be some major moves. And again, when you see this all going on in the middle of the week, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday tend to just be slower movement and setting us up for those bigger moves that are going to happen. So again, you don't need to be in the markets, searching for all these opportunities to start out the week. Wait for the major volume to be getting into the markets. And as you can see, Wednesday is going to be a big day for that. As we move into Thursday, we have some Euro monetary policy statements going on in the morning, some more press conferences going on at 8:30. I don't really touch the New Zealand dollar too much. There's a number coming out here. It is also around that 5 p.m. time, so not something I really gauge my trading around, but there is a CPI number coming out for that. And then Friday looks like we're hit with some more euro and pound news in the morning. But again, Wednesday is going to be our big day. We got some euro news Thursday, Friday, so we'll go ahead and look at that. We'll also make sure to take a look at some Australian dollar pairs to see how these employment changes, could have a different kind of outlook on the technical analysis side when it comes to the Australian dollar. So let's go ahead and get right into it. As you guys know, we're going to start with the dollar index. Most of us trade along with the major pairs, whether it's major Forex pairs or we're talking commodities or crypto or whatever it may be, right? The death of the dollar, all this printing of money has really left the dollar, just to be super bearish. And that's why people are putting their money into their assets like crypto and gold and silver and a lot of these other things. But let's get away from the fundamentals and go into the technicals. Now, as I talked about on that price action study from GBP USD, we saw the most amount of bullishness that previous week on the dollar that we have in a long while. And then last week continued that same bias. So, away from looking for some of the lower time frame or higher time frame targets that we had to the downside, as you see, we played off this 4 hour imbalance. Now we want to be looking for those upside areas on the daily. And then as we knock down time frames, we can kind of bring together some of those main areas that we're looking for. So, right now we're pretty much trading into a 1 hour 50% candle over here. I do see on the daily we had quite a bit of liquidity hanging out here. Again, just a lot of equal wicks, equal pools of money that the market definitely wants to run back into. As we look to the upside, right, no big imbalances or anything, but when we knock down to a smaller time frame, we will find some prices in here that we want to be looking at. So we're going to go ahead and knock down into a 4 hour time frame. And again, the purpose of this webinar, in this video is just to give you guys a couple things that I'm looking out for this week. So hopefully you can go mark up the same things on your charts and, again, just train your eye over and over and over again to look for these things. So at first, so first, as you can see, we're not down to that hour candle yet, but we had closed last week right on that hour candle. Again, today might be more of a consolidating day, so we may not move a whole lot. If we look to the downside, right, where to the downside could we retrace if we want to bring a higher dollar for this week? Now, again, you guys could say, yep, Colton, we got a nice imbalance. And let me get my tool up over here. I'm going to move myself over this way. We're going to go ahead and minimize that a little bit. So, again, you may say, well, Colton, we do have this imbalance hanging out here, which is great, right? We could retrace down a little bit. We do also have this really nice 4-hour candle that purged liquidity to the left side, ran into this imbalance and allowed us to trade higher. So that's the exact, institutional order flow that you want to look at. So, again, maybe we could be looking for some kind of retracement here around that 90.35 area to take us higher. Do we have to retrace down? Absolutely not. I'm just pointing out some areas that we could possibly get into, right? Let Monday and Tuesday kind of trickle down, Wednesday, Thursday. Who knows? Maybe we go for the higher time frame liquidity to the upside. Other than this, there's not a whole lot I see. Again, there's a little bit down here, but that's pretty far away. I don't see us getting to that this week. Let's talk about some higher time frame targets. Now, again, we are pretty much just creating some bigger pools of liquidity, whether you take it by the wicks or take it like here. Again, just liquidity being built up to the upside right around this 91 price. As you can see, we have this nice 4-hour last up candle over here. So something that I'm gonna mark off. I'm just gonna mark off the 50% of that. It's right here around 91.33. And we're just gonna keep that there for reference, see what that looks like on the hour time frame. And then we do have a little bit of imbalance also here on the 4 hours. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark that up, right? Candle wick here, bring it across to this candle wick here. So we got this 4-hour imbalance hanging out here, right around that price of 90.55. So for higher time frame targets, that's what I'm going to be looking at for this week. I would love to come play into this candle if we're going to see higher prices. If not, maybe we just consolidate for a little bit, and maybe we see that bearish dollar come play into 90.35. We're just going to have to wait and see. But let's hop down to an hour chart real quick just to see how everything's going on here, right? As you guys see, this big price drop that right, this big price drop here, they trickled down and then traded a low really, really slowly. So I don't necessarily need them to come get to 35. It looks like this was that last area of resistance. They broke above. So there's definitely some major confluences going on here around this 90.50 area. So maybe that's the lowest that they can go, right? That last up to down right here. So I'd really be looking at 90.50 if we want a lower retracement area. As we come back and look left to get right on the hour time frame, right? Let's just go inspect what we got going on up here, right? No major imbalances, but again, that 4 hour tells a bigger story. So we could still see some rejection here. Same imbalance going on the 1 hour. So really, really liking this to be played. So, again, those are going to be my higher time frame targets, whether we go ahead and just trade right up above that liquidity into our 4 hour target around 91.50, or we go ahead and show some bearishness, run into 90.50 before we run up there. That's what I'm maybe looking at to start the week. And again, it should make sense as to why there's not an exact setup right now, because there's not a lot going on today with the holiday. There's not a lot on the economic calendar tomorrow, even though they're probably going to be doing a lot in the office. That could just cause some bearishness to go ahead and take us higher. So overall, looking for a higher dollar this week. And let's go ahead and see how that plays out into some of our other charts. So we'll start with GBP USD. We haven't done higher time frame stuff in a while, so let me go ahead and just pull it down. As you can see, we've just slowly been trickling up, right? Bearish dollar, bullish GBP USD. But if we want to see some bullishness from the dollar this week, what could we see? So not a whole lot to work with on the daily time frame. Again, there was a nice smaller time frame distribution here, but overall, I know we're kind of making this money right here at this 3,700 level. Let's go down to the 4-hour chart, see what we got going on here, see if we can find a couple other candles. Now, I'm really going to focus in just on this price action here, right? Again, if we were to trade above this 3,700 price, that's the overall target. But if we want some bullish dollar, let's see this trade down to the downside. Now, again, you can see we have a nice 4-hour, what we would call an institutional candle to the upside that purged these two sets of equal highs, right? This is where most people were selling. They had to come slam one candle above those sellers one more time before they went ahead and traded down into those lower imbalances. So right now on the 4-hour, what really catches my eye is this last down candle here, right? This could be something that we come try to play into. I'll go ahead and just mark off the 50% of that, right? You can see that we found already rejection off of this last down candle. So this has been invalidated already. Earlier this morning, we had a nice play off of that 35.20 level, riding up. Now, as we look to the upside, again, we did have a nice wick retracement here, but I still see the open of this 4 hour candle not being mitigated yet. So maybe right here, as you see, it lines up with a quarter level, 36.25. This could be a short term target to the upside to then bring us lower, maybe into this candle. Again, not a whole lot of imbalances going on here. We do have this big down candle hanging out here. Even though that we did get a wick retracement here, there could be something on a smaller time frame hiding up under these wicks. Now, again, this is pretty far away. This would be about a 100 to 200 pip move this week, about a 350 pip move this week if we were to see something like that. But 34.75 would definitely be my shorter term downside target if we wanted to come play into this candle. So, again, I hope that's making sense. What am I doing? I know overall market structure is bullish, but on an intraday level, again, we could be seeing some bearishness because of the dollar. We've searched out some liquidity areas. We've searched out some imbalances. Again, there's not a whole lot of imbalances here on the 4 hour. We've marked up some institutional candles. Again, there obviously is an imbalance here that I could point out, right? Lines up perfectly with the open of that candle, the 50%. So again, 36.25 is something that I got my eye on. Let's knock down to a smaller time frame, see what we got going. I'm just going to focus in on this price action here. Again, all of this got, mitigated pretty well up here. So don't really need any of that to be touched. Again, here on the hour, you can see, again, just nothing really telling us a different story. As you can see, they found that rejection inside of this little bit of imbalance this morning, right? Little bit of imbalance here. We come trade into it right here around 3, 4 a.m. Now we've traded up, again, market opens, we trade down, we trade up. And, you hear me talk about this like Asian session consolidation or it being a US holiday and we're just consolidating. You're like, Colton, well, how is that consolidation if we traded down 50 pips and traded up 50 pips? Well, look where the market opened the day and where the market's likely to close today, right? It's going to open and close pretty much in the same spot. So, even in a 24-hour period, that could still be considered a consolidation day, right? So again, yes, there were moves to be caught, but were they the highest probability moves? Just something to keep in mind for you guys. Again, as we come down to the hour and we kind of look at this last down structure, we did leave a small little imbalance hanging out here. Again, nothing too crazy, but I would, say that it is still open on a 15-minute time frame. We might still have some candles that could be mitigated down in here. So we'll just leave that up on the chart. Again, as we look to the upside, whether it's the open of this buy structure here, whether it's, maybe we come play into this last up candle, again, this is something that I'm just going to see at what time we reach these candles, whether it's Wednesday morning for London or maybe Wednesday afternoon, depending on all that. And as you can see, this kind of lines up with that 50 level as well. And again, you guys see me knock down time frames, but again, if you're playing this off the 4 hour, and you're going to look for sell positions off the 4 hour here, again, this is still a regular 35 pip stop to go ahead and be targeting, well over a 3-to-1 ratio. So, again, you don't have to knock down in the smaller time frames like I do here. Again, it's just for more, shorter stop losses and depending on the way that you guys really want to trade. But this is what I see going on. Again, I would say that this is kind of just a buildup of liquidity again, where there are a lot of retailers that maybe took this buy this morning and are going to create and catch these 100 or so pips to the upside. Absolutely, just not something that I was looking to take advantage of. Now, as you go down to the 15-minute, let's just go see what we got going on over here. Cool. So again, pretty equal price action, a little bit of imbalance. Last down candle, again, we got pretty good rejection. So I would use this more as a target point, less than an entry to the downside. I'm not really looking to buy the market at the exact moment because we are bullish on the dollar. As we look at the 15-minute, right? Again, just money trend line right here. So there's a lot going on right here at this 50%, right? We have another imbalance hanging out here. We have that last up candle. This lines up with the open. So, again, something really, a really secured trade could be something just like this, right? Stop loss up above this wick, again, 10 to 15 pip stop, whatever you do, depending on what we leave here to the downside, it could obviously make for more than a 3-to-1 ratio here. But again, I see a lot of confluence at this 36.25 level. So depending on what time and what day we reach this price, I would be looking at something um, at that exact level. But outside of that, that's what I would pretty much be looking at for GBP USD. Again, short-term bullishness. Let's see if we could run some prices lower. Let's see how that looks with some of the other major currencies. Let me go ahead and delete all this. Let's take a look at USD CAD. All right, so it looks like we got some nice rejection off the 50% this morning, right? So if I were to take my fib, right, take it from the open to the right there on the 50%. So beautiful rejection this morning off the 50% of that up candle that purged liquidity to the left side. Whoops, not exactly what I wanted there, but you guys can see equal highs, candle run, trade down, right? We trade down and pretty much made equal money here, and that's right here off of that 2800 level. So a lot of confluences with that. Again, not something that I was looking at this morning. If we look to the downside, right, we did have this last down candle here. We do have some imbalances hanging out here, which do line up with the 50% of that candle, I would guess so. So if I were to kind of take something, maybe there, 2664. So let's look at that 75 figure. Let's see what we got going on. I'm going to go ahead and delete the imbalance. Let's go ahead and mark up our 75 figure. And that would be something that I'd maybe be looking at to the downside as a downside target on USD CAD. Again, being bullish on the dollar, I could see us maybe running above these highs, maybe coming up into this candle again. Let's see what we got working on smaller time frames. I haven't really liked the way that UCAD has moved over the past week and a half, so not a whole lot I've done with it myself. Again, you guys can see evidence, right? Money build up, run high, trade low, right? Money build up, run high, trade low. So just kind of doing the same thing over and over again here. Played that well. We can see a big imbalance hanging out here, right? So maybe it doesn't need to come trade below this little bit here and come down in here. As you can see, really slow price action all through here. Maybe it just trades down a little bit more here to go ahead and just take those prices higher, up above this high. And then if we go search above this high, there may not be a lot going on, right? We may just be purging over some higher liquidity to the left side. So not a whole lot I see on USD CAD, to be honest. We do have that CAD news, but again, for right now, with where we're at in the week, Monday, Tuesday, I don't see a really secure setup on USD CAD. So Euro USD is looking. Bring it back to the 4-hour, right? So again, bullish on the dollar, which I love because it looks like we are about to trade into this higher time frame imbalance to the downside. We have pretty much making equal money here. So again, perfect money build up before we reach the imbalance and before we get into the main volume days of the week. So really liking this. I see that major level at 1.2 thousand. So that could be something that we play off of right down here below near the bottom of the imbalance. Um, as we look to the upside, right, there's obviously a couple areas that we could look at to retrace back up to, just like GBP USD, right? See a little bullishness to go ahead and take it bearish off that old last support. So we'll go ahead and knock this down onto a smaller time frame, knowing that, overall, as you guys can see, like the reason that my eyes are stuck to this imbalance to the downside and liquidity downside, because there's not really an imbalance in liquidity I see to the upside. You know what I mean? I mean, yes, this is hiding up here, but, again, with the way the dollar's looking right now, I don't really need us to get up here, especially with all this other price action. It's just not something that I'd really be keeping my eye on. Everything else has been pretty clean to the downside already. So let's see what we got going on here. Again, short-term rejection, just building up money. Again, not a quick, fast movement. We see again that 4-hour imbalance is going to knock down into a nice 1-hour imbalance here. Again, so I'd be looking right around here, 21, 21.20, something around here, maybe stop up above this wick. Again, if we'd be looking at something like this, make that red, and then, maybe take an entry, anywhere, whatever, maybe, this is less than a 20 pip risk, kind of anywhere 20 to 30 pip risk, I should say. anywhere that you'd be looking to take this, even if you took it off that 10 level. You know, 22 pip risk. And what are you going to target? You're going to target your liquidity to the downside. So boom, 23 pips, just targeting your liquidity, right? That gives you over a 2-to-1 ratio. So again, you don't need to be looking for these 5-to-1, 6-to-1s all the time. You know, again, even the 2-to-1, 3-to-1, 4-to-1 would, more than likely be enough for you guys most of the time. Um, and again, yes, there are some prices here. That's why we're going to wait and see what, the market looks like come Tuesday, Wednesday. But again, a little bit of liquidity. We do have imbalance hanging out up here. But again, unless we just get super bearish dollar, I don't really see us hopping up here quite yet. So I'd still be looking at this short-term bullishness to go ahead and continue this down. USD JPY, this should show us signs of bullishness as well. Um, again, we actually have a big imbalance hanging out here to the downside. So, again, maybe Monday, Tuesday, we trade down into here. But overall, I would want to look for some higher targets. Again, you see some bullish market structure here. Let's go ahead and go down to the 1 hour, see what we got working here. Yeah, just not a whole lot I see with USD JPY right now. I mean, kind of looking bearish, kind of not playing along with the other with the other stuff that we have going on for the dollar. There is quite a bit of Japanese yen news. So maybe the yen's going to push us a little bit different. It's not always going to correlate with the dollar index perfectly. So again, maybe this yen news is bringing the yen is strengthening the yen a little bit. And again, also the yen is kind of a safe haven. Over the last couple months, couple years, people see Bitcoin as a safe haven, gold as a safe haven. But when the dollar isn't gaining value, a lot of people do like to put their money in the yen. It's kind of like that second reserve currency. So again, you see the yen gain value when people aren't holding US dollars as well. So this is kind of looking bearish, a little bit different than some of the other stuff. Let's take a look at AUD USD because we do have those employment numbers coming out on Wednesday. Where's a higher time frame target that I could see us getting to? I'm not going to go anything higher than the 4 hour. Um, again, bullish dollar would bring this to the downside. Even though this is a nice, short-term distribution, again, there wasn't a beautiful up to down, beautiful mitigation here. So I kind of see this as a pool of money. I do see a really nice down candle here with imbalance all right here. So this could be something that we come play later on this week. Again, what are they going to do before there? They're going to create equal money trend lines, whether you do one there, do one there. So, again, I'd be looking for this 76.25, maybe right around here, 76.25, stop up underneath the low, which is about a 25-point risk. So there's anything to the upside that I'd be looking at, we have this last up candle here. And let's go see if we have a smaller time frame imbalance hanging out there as well. So to the downside, again, sell to buy structure, still nice imbalance there. As we look up to the upside, not a whole lot I see. AU's more of a slower moving pair. Maybe they come trade into maybe this last up candle. We did leave a little bit of imbalance hanging out in here as well. So just boom. And I'm missing my angles here. But there is a little bit here, and that does line up with the open of that candle. So maybe that 77.40, if we were to trade up there, we would see something up above this wick as a stop, kind of bring it lower. Again, you should see similar patterns on GU and EU and AU here, kind of looking for some bullish pricing to then bullish price action to then take us lower. But overall, that would be what I'm looking at as my higher time frame zones. Let's go into gold and then walk through some indexes, and we'll end this off. Be a real short one here. So gold opened last night and traded below a lot of these lows. Again, people were very bearish on this all last week. We had this pool of money. We traded lower, traded near 1800, and now we're showing some bullishness right now. Overall, as you can see, we dipped down into a little bit of the imbalance, but there's still quite a bit hanging out over here. If I'd have to say so myself, kind of something like that. So I would still be looking at some lower prices. Now, again, we do have really nice equal money to the upside as well. So, gold, I've been on the sideline for gold for a little bit now. Again, you can see that imbalance hanging out up here. I've been on the sideline, haven't really touched it much. I've been really focused in on GBP USD and the S&P. But other than this, right? We're not always going to come straight up above this. We still have this last up to down candle here. So if we were to want to look for a similar setup when it comes to GU and AU and all that, we could be looking at this last up candle, right? Looking at this last up candle, a little bit of imbalance hanging out here. We had talked about that last week. Let the market trickle up there, see what it wants to do and trade lower. Also, we obviously have this big, hour candle to the downside. So, again, any retracements that would get us, deeper into this candle, wherever it may be, something down in here, to take it to the upside could be a big possibility as well. When it comes to the indexes, um, let's see here, right? I would overall, again, obviously you get bear, or, bullish market structure. We do have some imbalance hanging out here on the 4-hour chart. So boom, boom, right here, wick to wick. So 4-hour imbalance here. We do have a little bit of imbalance hanging out to the upside as well. So again, we're kind of playing in the middle of where I would want to see any moves happen, which makes sense at the beginning of the week. Really nice market structure there. Da 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 da. Again, you see the same imbalance on the hour, so maybe we trade a little bit higher. Maybe we don't quite get to there. We have this last up candle hanging out here that didn't quite get mitigated. You can see that they did mitigate the open of this last up candle here with all this little bit. So I would be looking for maybe some higher prices here. Again, if this sell setup presents itself, again, maybe something that we take advantage of here. As you can see, these equal wicks are pretty much just equal money. So I would still look for some lower prices here. But overall, kind of the two zones. And again, if you haven't watched a Monday market overview or Sunday market overview with me before, this happens all the time. To whereas the market is in the middle of the two areas that I'm looking for. I'm just waiting to approach this area, wait for the right time, depending on the day, and we go ahead and take a trade from there. US 30 should be pretty similar. All right, if we go ahead and delete what we got going on here, again, big down candle kind of hanging out in the middle. We have some skipping of price and imbalances there. We should have, again, you could see some bigger imbalance hanging out here to the downside right over here, right? We've created some nice money here. So higher time frame target to the downside for me on the indexes. It just depends on how far up they would want to retrace. Right, I haven't given you guys any Fibonacci stuff in this exact video, but again, what do you want to wait for? Again, some higher time frame, higher retracement areas up into here. Don't sell it too soon. And if we were to get something up into these imbalances, maybe up here around that 88, we could see another good sell off on the indexes. Um, when it comes to crypto at the moment, Bitcoin's just still kind of hanging out here, trying to figure out whether it wants to move back up towards that 4,200 figure or if we want to come trade down into that 25,000 level. We'll kind of see what's up right now. Again, still looking pretty bullish on its stuff. I know the 21st is coming up, and that's when they're pulling Ripple off of Coinbase. And then there's a lot of stuff going on for Ethereum this week. So, again, maybe Ethereum and Bitcoin kind of see an up thrust, whereas the Ripple might see, some downwards movement because of them being pulled off of Coinbase and whatnot. And outside of that, again, just one other thing that I want to talk about with metals is that, with Valentine's Day coming up, again, I would love to just see another, a quick lower dip in prices on metals. Again, you can see here money trend line, little imbalances, down institutional candles to go ahead and push this higher going into February for the Valentine's Day month. But, outside of that, I hope this helps you guys. That's kind of what I see for this week. Again, I'm just going to give you guys exactly, what I'm looking for. And then, as opportunities start to present themselves, I'll go ahead and drop them in the Telegram for you. And we can see, pretty much where our best area is going to be. But really liking this 36.25 price on GBP USD. So that's going to be my main focus for this week. I hope you guys have an amazing holiday. If, hopefully enjoying your 3-day weekend for those of you that, available will be off work for today. If you are working, again, I hope you're able to watch this video afterwards. Let's have a great week and looking forward to updating you guys on some charts in the Telegram chat. So let's live bullish. Make sure to like and subscribe, and let's get to it.